Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 17 of the Centre Circle podcast of the New Army West Midlands football. After last week's venture into the unknown and dipping our toe into the world of horse racing, we're back tonight to talk a little bit more about what we know, or some of you might actually think that what we don't know. But joining me today, anyway, I've got the mainstay panel of obviously myself, Alex, and Sam. Coming up on today's show, we'll be discussing obviously the hot topic of the All English Champions League final, which is Manchester City versus Chelsea, or El Clasico, as it's been referred to over the years. We'll also be having a little brief recap of Monday evening's Black Country Derby, where Wolves and West Brom played out a 1-1 draw in treacherous conditions at the Hawthorns. We'll be having a look ahead to the Football League playoffs. And of course, we'll be looking ahead to tonight's Europa League semi-final second legs, where for the second time in 3 years, the possibility of 2 all-English finals in European competition is a genuine possibility. So first, it's going to be off to Istanbul or even Villa Park, from what we're hearing today, in 3 weeks' time, where City will attempt to finally lift the elusive Champions League trophy, taking on Tuchel's 2012 winners Chelsea. First off, in a word, who wins?
City. But it's going to be close.
I'm going to go Chelsea, and I am going to go Chelsea, and I ain't just going to go against the grain. I've thought it for quite a while now. I mentioned on a couple of pods ago, I thought that Chelsea potentially could win the league next season. I think they're going to have a massive summer. That obviously doesn't have a bearing going into this game, but I think if you look at that FA Cup semi-final, I think that the way that Chelsea played against City that day is pretty much a blueprint, and I think they'll take confidence from that game into this game. There's no pressure on Chelsea. They were coming into this game, they were pretty much down and out in January. They were like, what were the 6th in the league, something like that. Tuchel's obviously turned them around. I think they'll take more confidence to get. All the pressure is on Man City to win this game. They have to win a Champions League sooner rather than later. And I actually just think that Chelsea will get the better of them.
I know you mentioned the FA Cup, but I think you're going to see a lot of a different City team than the lineup there today. So I was just looking at the City team. You had Stefan in goal. Obviously, you'll see Edison. That back line, I think you'll only see one of those. They started with Mendy, Laporte, Diaz, Cancelo. You're only going to see one of those in the final because Stones will come in. I think Kyle Walker will come in. Who's going to play? Zinchenko will play left back, won't he? I think it's pretty certain. Jesus played up top. Ferran Torres, Sterling played. None of those are going to play in the final, I don't think. So I think it's going to be a completely different game to that FA Cup game.
But I think Chelsea have actually hit form them as well. I know City have obviously just saw off PSG, but they were battered in that first leg. And they'll openly admit it, they were battered, and they really should have been put to bed. They should have been 2 or 3-0 down by that point.
PSG, better team than that Real Madrid team we saw last night. And that Real Madrid team we saw last night is a shackle of its former self. I think without Ronaldo, that Real Madrid team bang average, actually. I don't see where the goal's coming from. Hazard just doesn't like Hazard anymore, does he? He just looks like an overweight footballer. Rodrigo, Vinicius, are they actually any good? I'm not too sure. That Real Madrid team, I think Chelsea beat an easier Real Madrid team than Man City did the PSG team.
I think so, but I think Real Madrid still did a very comfortable job on Liverpool. So I don't think they're mugs.
They're not. But is that Liverpool team? Yeah, is that Liverpool team the same as old? I don't know. Look where they're going to finish in the league this season.
Shout out actually to one member on this pod that did predict a Chelsea Man City final.
Was it Drew or was it Trigger?
Oh, I did, yeah.
Good effort.
Yeah, it was a while ago as well. I think it was. Was it?
Was it the quarterfinal after the draw for the quarterfinals?
After the draw, yeah. I said so it was a bold shout. I don't think even I believed it at the time, but I thought, go for it. City Chelsea, because obviously Chelsea just got rid of Frank, and I could just see that. I don't know. Well, they had nothing else. Well, I don't know. They had nothing to lose really. There, and I think it'll be a tight game. I'd like Chelsea to win. I don't know why. I've got nothing against Man City. I don't know. I'm not really bothered as it usually wins, but I think I'd just like to see Chelsea win it more than City. Nothing against City. I won't be disappointed if City do. I'm happy either way. Or an English final. I'm one of these who cheers for the English teams, other than Villa were there, for example. You've got to cheer for the English teams in major competitions. So hopefully we can get the Europa League as well.
I think so. I think Man United will win the Europa League. I think no matter who they play, if they play Arsenal, they probably would prefer to play Arsenal, to be honest.
I don't know. They're both poor teams, aren't they? Like you say, I think Man United are shoo-ins for that Europa League. I think Arsenal will win. Is it tonight? But I don't think they're very good. And Man United should just dispatch them quite easy.
Yeah, they should do.
I think the thing with the Man City one, though, is to me, I mean, I said at the Dortmund game, I mean, they were, 30 minutes from going out against Dortmund. They were actually, I think they were 1-0 down in the second leg after only win. The first leg they got away with it because Jude Bellingham's goal was perfectly legit. And then obviously they've played a PSG team. Okay, granted they made the final last year, but PSG limped over the line against Bayern reserves. And I think that for me, Bayern haven't really had the fair crack at retaining because they had no players. They had no players, and I still stand by what I say. I do not see Man City. I don't see anyone beating Bayern at full strength.
I agree.
And the moment they lost Lewandowski, that was curtains for them. But they had so many other players there. I think Gnabry was out, Tolisso was out. There was littered with injuries. I think they had about 4 or 5 first teamers actually on the team sheet against PSG. Still only lost on away goals. I don't think City would have beat them.
Sane should have scored.
You can only beat what is in front of you, and that is the oldest saying in football. They've made the final. Fair play to them. But I don't think they'll beat Chelsea. I just don't think they will. I actually think Chelsea, to a man, are a better side at this moment in time. I think they've got all the form players. I mean, Mason Mount last night. I mean, I think he's just took everyone by surprise how well he's done the past 6 months of this season. He's been, for a player that I think a lot of us may have even debated putting in an England squad, is now one of the first names on the team sheet.
Yeah. I think Timo Werner needs to score those sitters. He just needs to find some form, doesn't he?
I'm not sure.
If they got him firing, especially next season as well, like you say, with Chelsea winning the league next season. I think they need to get him firing. And if they do, I'd probably have them as one of the favourites.
I don't think he'll start, will he, in the Champions League final? I think Pulisic will start, but we'll see. How good is it for I think I texted someone yesterday, how good is it for the English game as well? They're probably going to have 5 English starters in the Champions League final going into the Euros. I think we've got Stones, Foden, Mount, Walker. No, I don't think Sterling will.
Do you not? I've got Sterling starting personally.
I don't think he will.
Chilwell, that's it. Chilwell, yeah. I think Chilwell. If Chelsea go and win a Champions League, surely you've got to start him at the Euros. I appreciate Shaw's been fantastic, but I don't know. I think that would be a tough drop on Chilwell. That would.
It is, but I mean, you guys were all talking about not even putting Trent in the squad, and he won the Premier League and Champions League in the past 2 seasons. So I don't think that necessarily qualifies you to, to have certain. No, you're entitled to this because you've won this. I think the best player in the position should play, and I think the best player this season has been Luke Shaw on a consistent basis, personally. But again, that is a coin flip position for me.
Yeah, and I think I've said Shaw in the past, but I think Chilwell, the last couple of games, has been fantastic. I think Southgate likes Chilwell more than Shaw, maybe, but we'll see.
Yeah. Okay, then so we've got 2-1. We've got City, Chelsea. Again, obviously, as always, let us know your selections in the comments below. So moving on to the next item, we've got Monday evening's game between obviously Wolves and West Brom. I mean, we notoriously slow starters in games tend to come on strong. But the game seemed to take the complete opposite pattern to that, really. I think we kind of come blasting out the traps. We should have been 2 or 3-0 up by half time. We were all over you. Second half, absolute no-show. Yet again, we can only play 45 minutes worth of football. And we were just inviting the pressure all game. And in the end, we were probably lucky to get out of there with a draw.
2 poor teams, 2 very poor teams on the face of it, I think. It was a good game, actually. 1-1, I think, was a fair reflection on the result. I think the game changed when Sam switched it to 4 at the back, took Dara off, brought Matty Phillips on, gave us more action in midfield. I think the goal was lucky for Fabio Silva, but it was coming. I think like you say, you dominated us. I think our goal, I don't know how anybody can ever tell me Nelson Semedo is a good footballer after watching that goal. He just left Connor Townsend in space and defending from Sice, I think it was as well, just to leave Diagne just with a free header was shocking. You had a chance at the end when the ref should have played it on, actually, and you probably would have scored. But I think it was a fair reflection. And like I say, both probably pretty poor teams. I know you made quite a few changes. We didn't look at the braces, to be honest. And I think we could have nicked it at the end. It could have gone either way. But just a sad reflection on both teams at the moment, I think, unfortunately.
Yeah, I thought I was really impressed with Vitinha in the middle. I thought Fabio Silva, I love him. I think he's got so much potential. He's coming on game by game. He's brilliant, and I've never doubted it. I've never doubted
Oh,
it.
God.
He came with a massive burden with the price tag, but for me, I think that he's had a fantastic season. For a young lad coming over to this country, barely knows the language. I think he's done brilliant. I actually think it's not Nuno's style, but he'd be brilliant in it too. Up top, he'd be fantastic in it too. And he threw himself in there. Tough game on Monday. Got the goal, but he had plenty of other chances as well. But not clear cut chances where he should have scored, but he was getting on the end of things. He was having a shot from at the edge of the box. The confidence to do that. I actually think that moving into next season, people were suggesting that potentially he could go out on loan. There'd be no reason for me. There'd be no reason for me why I'd be sending him out on loan. I think he's good enough.
I think in hindsight, probably Jimenez getting injured has it's obviously helped him, but I think we were saying, and I think Wolves fans were saying, it's too early for him and it's unfair to chuck him in that early, but it's got to have done him good. Like almost a full year under his belt at his age, and next year with Jimenez back, if he stays, if he's fit, he's got that year experience at his age, and he's only going to get better. Ballon d'Or winner.
He was good. Admittedly, I've criticised him throughout the season. I think it was probably one of his better performances that I've seen. Just the defence needs sorting out, Dale. It's an absolute mess.
Absolutely. So obviously, the amount of goals that we have been leaking. Rui Patricio is solid in goal. He's absolutely solid.
Made some great saves.
There really would not be many keepers in this league. I'd choose over him, so he wouldn't even be considered for me to be a position. Left back is going to be. I've mentioned before. Left back is going to be a position that we're going to have to fill with Johnny's absence.
I think that was the best I've seen him. The young lad on the left back against Baggy. Yeah, I think he started well, particularly.
He's decent going forward, but his end product really does lack. He's just a minor upgrade on Vinagre for me.
Modern day fullback, isn't he?
But again, it is the centre back, and you bang on. Roman Sice is shoehorned into that position. Dendonka's played there, Cody's played there. The common denominator is they're all centre midfielders, and they're all being played in the incorrect position. If Willy Bolly's not in that back four or back five, whatever Nuno chooses to play, we're just a complete mess. I've said before, Dion Sanderson has to be brought into the fold next season. Has to be. He's been outstanding at Sunderland this season. He's been the best defender in that division. And I know it's a massive step up, but players can make that step up. There's been plenty over the years, and there's a prime example playing at Villa Park now. There's a prime example, and he plays up front, and his name's Ollie Watkins. If you're good enough, you will go through the levels and maintain that standard of play.
I think I completely agree with you, mate. I think that there's certain players that need that stepping stone. So, for instance, I don't think that even Tony could have gone from being in League One to Premier League this year. I think Dion Sanderson needs another year at Championship. Then he can make that step up. Personally, I've watched him a few times, and he looks a Rolls Royce at that level. It's too easy for him, but. Is the Premier League too soon for him? I don't know, but you'll only know by finding. And we did the same every concert. When we signed him, all the Brentford fans went, "You've signed our fourth best centre half. Thanks for the money. 12 million easy, blah, blah, blah." I'm not being funny now. Like probably the last couple of games, he's probably been the worst I've seen him. But for us, he's one of the most unsellable players we've got now.
Absolutely. So moving into next season, Sam, you've obviously got the big batch of loan players. Yeah. You're likely to pretty much lose all of them.
Yeah.
Is there any one in particular that you would point to think we need to go all out to keep him, and it's
Yeah,
possible
okay,
to keep him?
Yukuşlu. I think we could keep Diagne and Yukuşlu, actually. Conor Gallagher, I don't think is ever going to make the grade at Chelsea, unfortunately, so I'm not too fussed about Conor Gallagher. Yukuşlu is absolute phenomenal player. I think he belongs at a better level than the Championship. I'd take Diagne in the Championship as well. I think he'd score quite a few goals. I think we've got a 4 million fee if we go down, 6 million if we stay up, so it's obviously going to be the earlier. I'd take Diagne, providing his wages not too much. He misses a lot of chances, but he gets in the position to get those chances. And if we keep Big Sam, I'm pretty confident we'll go back up. We might sell Pereira for 30 million, but 30 million in the Championship next season is going to be a hell of a lot of money given the current climate we're under.
Absolutely, yeah. Talking of players that might be disposed at some clubs, a little thought I had earlier was that if Villa were to get rid of El Ghazi, I'd happily take him. There'd be no doubt in my mind I'd take him. I think he'd be a very good squad player for us.
With El Ghazi at Wolves?
I think so, yeah, absolutely.
I'm not
saying it's a possibility, but I'd take him. He's match winning qualities for them.
You know who his agent is?
Is it Mr. Mendes?
George Mendes. Yeah.
Well, there you go. There we go. You've heard it here first. It's an exclusive on the Centre Circle podcast.
You know what? I said this the other day. I think the plan was to get rid of El Ghazi. I don't think it is anymore because of Trezeguet. Trezeguet's out for 12 months at least with an ACL. So my thoughts are that they'll need to keep El Ghazi as a squad player rather than Trez now.
So one of the points that you did just touch on, and that was promotion back into the Premier League next season. So we'll have a little look at the current standing, and that's the Football League. So moving on into my favourite time of the year, and that's the playoffs. I just think there's nothing like it. Unfortunately, it won't have fans this year, but I do always love it. There's no excitement quite like it. It's unique to our country, the way that the format is, and I think it's brilliant. So in the Championship, quite unusually, we're pretty nailed on going to the final day of the season. We know our four. No one can get into the top two. No one can drop out. It's only just about positions, really. So we've got Brentford, Swansea, Bournemouth, Barnsley. Who do we all fancy?
Barnsley.
Barnsley.
I fancy Bournemouth myself.
The only thing from a selfish point of view is I think if the three that went down came back up, I think the existing Premier League sides get more money because they don't have to get paid a parachute money. So on a selfish point of view, but yeah, I want Barnsley. It's no one would have ever put them into that, even to the top six, never mind to be in contention of going up. And I'll be honest with you, I don't think there's a team in the top six now that would want to play Barnsley.
As long as it's not Brentford, I can't stand Thomas Frank.
Me neither. He's horrible bloke.
Get him gone.
Also, as well, there's probably going to be a few players that Big Smith wants, to be honest.
Yeah.
You got to think. So you all fancy Barnsley? Three of you.
I'm going to be cheering for Barnsley. Yeah, I think the other three have been there. I know Barnsley have as well, but not for a while.
Yeah.
So let's just change it up a bit.
Brentford never have they? Brentford haven't either.
Oh yeah, cool. Yeah, cool.
Okay, so it's 1 for Bournemouth, 3 for Barnsley. Brown with you. I'd love to see Barnsley do it. Down into League One, we've got Blackpool, Sunderland, Lincoln, and Portsmouth currently occupying the 4 spaces, but the possibility of Charlton or Oxford getting in there as well. Who do we fancy from League One?
Lincoln.
It's a tough one. I don't think Sunderland will do it. Charlton, if they get in, I'd fancy Charlton if they get in.
I think Portsmouth, they've just brought in a really good manager. I think they're in a better position than they've been before, and I think it's such a shame to see where Portsmouth are. To be honest with you, I've got no loyalty to Portsmouth. I just think they're such a big club. When we were growing up, they were always and ever present in the Premier League, and I think personally that's the sort of club I would like to have littered in the Premier League. As well as all 4 of our own teams. I think we all belong in the Premier League, and I'd like to see Portsmouth.
I don't see Portsmouth as a big club, really. I don't think they do belong in the Premier League.
It's a little bit like that Newcastle debate. I think it's their fans and
the fans are great. Yeah,
unbelievable. And I think that's what it is. They're proper fans, I guess it's the same with Sunderland as well. But they're one city clubs, aren't they? So I guess that they get a lot of that. But their fans are phenomenal, Portsmouth, and I'm sure they've got that guy who's got like Portsmouth badges, and he's actually changed his name to Mr. Portsmouth.
Is he the bell guy?
Possibly,
That's
yeah.
it.
Bellman. The Bellman. Yeah,
Um,
no, I'll root for the underdog. I don't like seeing the top teams in the Premier League. I like get your
That's why
boys
you're a
and your
Blues fan,
teams in
mate.
there. Well, yeah, underdog story. Which is long in
Huddersfield.
there. More than Portsmouth anyway.
I
Yeah, no, I
fancy,
like the underdogs.
I fancy Portsmouth as well, to be quite honest.
I think they've got a bit of momentum as well.
League Two, we've got Morecambe, Newport, Tranmere, Forest Green. We've also got the possibility of Exeter or Salford who could get in.
Anyone but Salford.
Or Bolton or Cambridge could potentially drop in there as well from the top 3 spots. Actually, quite a funny position because Cambridge could actually win the title, but then they could also drop into the playoffs. So that's quite a mad position and shows you how tight it is down there in League Two. But at the moment, we've obviously got Morecambe, Newport, Tranmere, and Forest Green, or Exeter or Salford could potentially get in. So who do we fancy from League Two?
Morecambe.
Forest Green.
I'm going to go Forest Green. One of our players, Odin Bailey's on loan there, and they seem like a nice club. They seem
He's
to
like ultra green, isn't he, Trig?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all vegan and that, ain't they?
Yeah,
All,
to sign, you've got to sign with your blood to be a vegan.
Yeah. They seem like a nice club. They do things like the Forest Green. I think they are fully green. I don't really know what that means, but I know they don't sell meat at the grounds and all that.
Oh, wouldn't be no good at half time then, would it?
Yeah.
It should be a shit away day, that would.
Yeah, they seem to do things differently to everyone else, and I admire that. So get them up there.
Yeah, definitely. I'm up for that.
Morecambe for me.
Fancy Tranmere myself.
For any reason?
Best defensive record in the league, I think, or one off. I know they shipped a few goals in one of the games. I think I remember looking at them losing 5-0.
There's a few Tim Pot clubs in there. That to be fair, Newport, Forest Green.
Morecambe as well.
So either one, I'm happy with.
Morecambe have been rebranded more times than Wimbledon, haven't
they?
Yeah. So we've got Championship. We've got 3 Barnsley picks and a Bournemouth pick from me. League One, we've got 2 Portsmouth picks, a Lincoln pick, and who did you go for, Sam?
Charlton if they get there.
Charlton if they get in. And League Two, we've got 2 Forest Greens, a Tranmere, and who did you go for, Sam?
Morecambe.
Next question. So Chelsea, Man City, Champions League final. We've all got for our predictions up, Drew. So just in a word, who do you fancy?
Who do I fancy?
Yeah.
Chelsea.
2-2. So we've got 2-2. Then I'll go for Chelsea as well. So do we think that manager of the year is hinged on this game?
You know what? I think a couple of weeks ago we had a conversation about David Moyes, and I think they might have just petered off a little bit. But if he would have achieved Champions League, it was, for me, that was nailed on. I think, Pep. I mean, they've both got 2 finals now, or City have won theirs and they've got a chance to win one, and Chelsea have also got the same situation, I guess. But yeah, I'd assume so. I just think that we've Pep doing it over a longer period of time. But then you look at Chelsea's record; he's lost 1 game. He's beat some of the best managers in world football, and not conceded a goal against any of those managers. That's phenomenal. I just think their defensive shape is he just seems impenetrable at the minute. Like, you just didn't seem to be able to break him down.
Apart from West Brom.
Boing, boing.
On Team Moyes, I am.
I think I am as well, Trig. I think he's done an unbelievable job out there at West Ham.
From last season, to change it round like that is phenomenal. And they're only 3 points. I know it's Chelsea that they're behind. They could still get Champions League. And if they do, then he's nailed on. But even if they don't, what a season, man.
I mean, imagine if Arsenal won Europa, Leicester being 4th would miss out on Champions League. That's right, isn't it?
No.
I thought
top four always get in. FA Cup only gets you.
No.
FA Cup only gets you Europa League. Europa League gets Champions League. You can have 5. You can have 5, but only on.
What, in the Champions League?
Yeah, only on those conditions that you've just said, sort of thing. So
I'll say.
it happened a few years ago. I can't remember who it was. I think
Was it
it's
Chelsea?
Man United under Mourinho. I think maybe no. I can't remember who it was now, but I'm sure that we had 5 in there
We did.
anyway.
We
I
did.
think it was when Man United won the Europa League. You know, I think it might have been.
Yeah, but wasn't that because Arsenal were in the top 4 though? I think because Arsenal are outside of the European spaces, they would get that, and Leicester then miss out.
No,
Nah,
you can
you
have,
still
can
get
have
the top
5.
4 and then +1.
Oh right, okay, maybe I'm wrong then.
Yeah, I think that it might be that if you win the Europa League, you don't get country protection or something. Possibly, I don't know, but I just know that you can have 5. Because I actually remember when Chelsea won the Champions League, it actually put Spurs out of the
Yeah.
4th, didn't it? And they went into the Europa League, which at the time was proper shit out
Yeah,
because obviously Chelsea and Spurs are quite big rivals, aren't they? So
Super.
yeah. We did mention earlier on, and that was about Mason Mount, the fact that, you know, we were potentially even thinking 3-4 months ago he might not have been even, you know, well, obviously we'd all discussed the fact that would we even put him in our squad? Now I think it's not even a debate if he goes into the team. We've mentioned it many a time, but the time is coming. We're expecting Gareth to name his squad now in less than 3 weeks. At this moment in time, I want to quick run through if you 1 to 11, if you have to start tomorrow.
Is this what we would start or what we think Gareth will start?
What you would go with right now?
Okay.
I am prepared for this.
I know. I'm going to need
I'd
this.
go.
Drop this on us like that.
I actually would stick with Pickford in goal. I mean, he's a bit of a calamity at times, but he's never let England down, and I think you've got to go on that basis, really. And you know, it's one of them ones until he does let us down. I mean, in the World Cup, really, he was probably one of the big heroes, really saving a penalty, some crucial saves. Yeah, I'd stick with Pickford in goal.
Yeah.
I'd go with Pickford as well. Happy
No,
with Pickford in goal.
Yeah.
Pickford.
Pickford.
Right back, I've got to be honest with you, even if it was up for debate a few weeks ago, the way that Kyle Walker has handled Mbappe, Neymar in the last few weeks, mate, he has just nailed himself into that right back position.
Absolutely.
No argument for me there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Two centre halves, Stones and Maguire.
You sure you don't want Reece James in there, Trig? Because you was championing him the other week.
Who did Drew say? I wasn't. I
Walker.
just agreed without knowing what he said. To be
Kyle
honest,
Walker.
I'm trying to do some research. Who did you say?
Kyle Walker.
Nah, Reece James. Reece James in there.
Okay, so the two centre halves are Stones and Maguire.
No, Brian.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
No brainer.
Left back at the minute, it's got to be Chilwell.
Yeah, I've changed my mind to Chilwell as well.
Yeah.
It's got to be Chilwell.
Flip a coin. Couldn't care less.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? They're both as good as it. It's a great option to have.
It is, yeah. I'd go Declan Rice as my central defensive midfielder. I wouldn't have 2 in there.
I'm going to Rice and Calvin Phillips. Controversial, but I think it's the
Oh,
way he's going to set up.
No,
Do you know what?
This is how you set up, Sam.
I was a massive advocate of the fact that you needed experience in there, but the fact that Jordan Henderson hasn't played football, I don't think he can go in there. So I would personally, at this moment in time, there's no one who's played at higher level. Calvin Phillips.
Agreed.
Me
I'd have him in
personally,
there.
I wouldn't. I would put
Would you not?
Bellingham in there.
Bellingham?
I'd play
Would
Bellingham.
you put
and
Bellingham in
Ross.
there?
Bellingham has
Bellingham?
played at a higher standard than Calvin Phillips. So and he's held his own as well. I would go with
Champions
Bellingham and
League?
Rice.
Bellingham's played in the Champions League.
I'm going to go Declan Rice as my sitter, and I would have Grealish and Mount as my 2.
Even though
Grealish.
Grealish hasn't played in
I
a
wouldn't
while.
play
so
Grealish.
I can't now.
Taking Grealish now.
He's not played, has it? I
I
love
think now that
Grealish,
he's
but he's not
extended it
played.
to free position. This is how I would start. So I'm a Villa fan. I watch him week in, week out, and I think a 50% fit Grealish is better than 100% fit Phillips, in my opinion.
I'm going Bellingham though. I don't think a 50% Grealish is better than a Bellingham.
No, I agree with that. But yeah, that's how I would start. I'd have
I'd
Mount
love
and
Grealish to be
Grealish.
fit. I'd love him to be fit. I think he just
mean,
adds
I
a
think we all
massive
would.
extra
Well,
dimension to this
he-
squad, but I just don't think he's going to go.
It kind of came out that they think that this was on Monday, that he was 7 days away from being match fit. So
That would give him 3 games, would it? If
3 games.
Three
With
games.
yeah, but don't forget, with an international break as well.
It's worth mentioning
Isn't
as
there
well the fact that half the squad are going to be out for the first couple of warm-up games now. So if Grealish does actually come back, gets those 3 games under his belt for Villa, he's then probably going to get picked for the provisional squad. Could
Yeah.
play his way into contention through
There's
those
potentially
warm-up
6
games.
games.
Potentially, yeah.
It's how he plays in these games for Villa, isn't it? If he's looking back to his old self, then you've got to take him. But if he's looking a bit jaded and not up to full speed, I think it's going to be a tough one to take him, let alone starting. And that's a man that's got 3-1 on Jack Grealish to get to the Euro, so that's painful.
I think that's what it all hinges on. How he comes back. Is he fit enough? 2.5, 3 months out for anyone is a long time not to be playing football. But again, if you've got 3 games of club football and then potentially 3 games of international football that Southgate can get some minutes into his legs, I think that'd be more than enough for him to put himself back in contention. To be honest, I think the thing why Jack has to go, in my opinion, is because no one else. He's a bit like Bellingham. No one else can do what Bellingham can do, and no one else can do what Jack can do. He's just a maverick. He does things that England haven't had for a long time, in my opinion.
Absolutely, yeah. He's top player. We all love him on this podcast, don't we? No denying that. Midfield 3 for me, anyway, just to sum up, would be Bellingham, Rice, and Mount.
I've got like a 3 sitting in front of the 2, so Foden, Mount, and Lingard for me.
Actually, I'm going to change just purely based on last few weeks. So I'll put Bellingham in my midfield 3, but I'm going to put Jack out wide left, Foden out wide right, and I'd go Kane up top.
Go on, your midfield 3.
Bellingham and Rice, and I'm having Foden, Mount, Lingard.
I'm going obviously Mount, Rice, Bellingham, and then my front 3, I'll go Foden, Kane, Rashford.
Oh, on what basis?
Got Rashford.
Oh God,
I think he's brilliant. I think he's a class player. He's an outlet at all times. I think his touch, the way he drives at players.
I can't tell you that last time I watched it, I thought you've influenced the game today, and that's the last 6 months. I can't remember the last time I think he's played well.
Oh, I think who did United play away in the quarter-final of the Europa League?
The Dog and Duck.
They won 2-0, didn't they? I can't remember who it was now. But yeah, his touch to bring it down for the first goal was just very much like Mason Mount, who went it the weekend before he put it on a plate for Havertz. His touch is fantastic. I think he's a great player. I love Marcus Rashford. And he'd go into my 11.
I honestly think that Sterling's place, not even in the 11 in the squad, should be up for debate, because I think he's been minging this season.
They'll take him. You've got to take him.
He will be. He will be in the squad, but on what basis? Like, this is what I'm trying to say. This is why I think that you've probably got 5 names, regardless of form, they get into the squad. And I think it's unfair, I do. And it's always been the same. Like, regardless of how well Gerrard, Lampard, Terry, etc. are all playing, they were in the squad. And then there was players that were playing absolutely out of their skin who just don't even, they have to prove themselves for almost 6 months. Like Jack, he had to prove himself for 2 seasons before he could dislodge anyone.
That's true. That is a fair point. Dick Grealish really did have to prove his worth. But I think Sterling probably should go. I think he's got international pedigree as well.
I agree with you. I don't think he should go based on performances alone. But again, the way it works is you've got to take him.
Yeah,
I think if you look at the options in those sort of areas, you'd be looking at obviously Foden and Sterling, Rashford, and are we even talking about Jadon Sancho?
Oh, see, I love Mason Greenwood. I do. I just love him.
Yeah,
I think he's unbelievable.
I'm a Greenwood fan, yeah.
I don't know whether he's done enough this season.
As well.
I think he's settled down a bit. I think he had that little bit of turmoil with him, and I think it knocked him about a bit, didn't it? I think it's sort of, I think last few weeks he's looked back to himself, and no reason why now that he's got 3 extra places why he can't go, even if it's a little bit like that Walker experiment, just give him some experience at international level. And, you know,
I think it'd be unfair though if they took Greenwood, say for instance, instead of Ollie Watkins, because Ollie Watkins probably deserves it a bit more. Because I think there'd only be one of them two that goes. I don't know. Greenwood hasn't played that much, has he, this season?
No, he hasn't really got the goals returned for it either. I mean, I know he scored a lot in the recent games, but it's not enough, is it, to kind of get you into the England squad, unless you just had no other, you know, if there was injuries and you thought, you know, go and give the kids some experience travelling with some proper pros. You know,
Watkins is a fair debate for it, but I just think he's behind that Calvert-Lewin as number 2 striker for me. And I actually think that probably,
You know what?
probably
It's
in
a funny
Gareth's
one, actually.
mind, he'd probably be 4th behind Tammy as well.
See,
No,
I
I can't have
disagree with
that.
that. See,
In Gareth's mind, not in mine.
well,
in Gareth's mind.
in my opinion, Gareth Southgate was at the Villa v Everton game in the weekend, and granted they both scored, but I honestly think watching it, even if you're a neutral, every other word out of the commentator's mouth was Watkins. And me personally, I think unless it's in the air, Dominic Calvert-Lewin is a very poor striker in terms of finishing. Like he wastes so many shots and so many chances. Whereas Ollie Watkins is literally 100% for England, 1 shot, 1 goal. And I think it's a difficult chance, to be honest.
David Nugent was like that.
There you go then.
On the
That's
goal
it.
line.
Bow out.
Fantastic. But do you know what? I think again, shout out to Watkins. He'll be an important part of this England squad over the next 4 or 5 years. He'll be in many a squad, and he'll go to a couple of tournaments in his career as well. I don't think there's any much doubt about that, unless there's some sort of mad rise from somewhere over the next 2 or 3 years of some of the young English strikers.
Even Tony.
Potentially.
But I mean, it's a funny one actually, because obviously going off Watkins, if someone would have said to you or any team really, you're going to sign a striker from the Championship, and in his first year he'll have 20 goal involvements, whether that's an assist or a goal in all competitions in his first year, I think you'd have snatched your hand off at anyone. I mean, he's got 13 in the Prem. I think he's got 17 in all competitions with 3 assists. I think that's an incredible return for someone from the Championship. And with that price tag and all the pressure that comes with, he's got to hit the ground running. I think he has, to be honest. Let's face it, in the last few weeks, a poor Villa team as well.
He's a threat. So, final question to you all, then. This would obviously be player of the season for you. In a word, who's your player of the season?
Ruben Diaz.
Yeah.
Bruno Fernandes.
No, Harry Kane for me.
Harry Kane.
His goals, top goals in the league, top assists in the league. No one's done that since Thierry Henry. He's absolutely smashed it this season for me, and he's brilliant for England as well going into this tournament. He's on it. Again, any team in the world, and that I'll even include Bayern Munich in that. I'd put Kane above Lewandowski now. I think he's the best out and out number 9 centre forward in the world. He's brilliant.
I agree. Yeah.
No arguments for me there.
Yeah. I think he probably has been for a while.
Yeah. His consistency is just unbelievable, isn't it? And if he stays in the Premier League, there's no way he doesn't beat Shearer's record.
He's a banker for the top scorer.
Does he move next season?
No, Levy won't sell him. He should move, but Tottenham won't accept it without an outrageous thing.
I actually disagree. I think it's going to be a case of he'll be unhappy. I think he's gave as much as he can give to Tottenham, and there's only so many times you can keep coming as runner up to know that I need to go and get myself some trophies.
I see a big summer. I do. I see a big summer happening. I think there's a big move's going to happen. Another one I'm earmarking is I think Mo Salah will go from Liverpool as well.
So where do you think? Real Madrid?
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
They're going to rebuild, aren't they? Real Madrid?
I think that's the thing, and I think people are thinking, money and stuff like that. Okay, they might not have the money, but they'll be using probably a couple of players as leverage. Liverpool need to build a squad. They need to rebuild in key areas. Yeah. They've got a ready replacement for me. Okay, their goals is don't get me wrong. Mo Salah's goals have carried Liverpool to the Champions League and Premier League title. He's been brilliant. He's top scorer 2 seasons on the spin. But they have got Mane and Jota who are good enough to start for that team.
What happens with Bobby Firmino? Did he sign another striker or?
I think he's a goner. I do.
I think they'll sell him. I think if Liverpool get rid of Mo Salah, right, I think they finish outside the top six. And I'm not even just saying that. I think he's.
They could finish at the top 6 this season.
Yeah, I think he's just everything to that football team.
They've got to win a game in hand just to go 6th in the league.
Yeah.
At the start of the season, Liverpool.
I think I'll be back. I think Liverpool will be back next season.
I think Dale's right though. I think they've got a big summer because I think they've got a lot of players in there that like Shaqiri, Oxlade-Chamberlain, Divock Origi, Bobby Firmino. If Salah's had enough and he wants to,
you said months ago.
Wijnaldum. Yeah, that's another one. Sorry, yeah. They need to obviously decide whether they are going to re-sign Kabak or whether they're going to go for this whatever his name is from
Konate, is it?
Konate, yeah. I think that I read something on Twitter today that's saying that Dortmund are going to be asking for like 75 million this year for Sancho. I think that's going to prick some ears up. I think Man U might dip back into that before Liverpool get there. And I also read today as well, I know it's off subject, but apparently City are really going to go after Declan Rice.
Interesting. I mean, a couple of months ago, we were all saying that we thought they'd be snapping up Dougie Luiz, didn't we? But obviously that seems to be off the table now as well.
Not a professional Call of Duty player, mate. They're the wrong tree.
A couple of people have mentioned in there Chelsea to win the league next season. One on fancy as well.
Yeah.
Man City for me. But
I think it's going to be tight. I'm going to go with City, but I think they're probably going to need an out-and-out striker. I don't think Jesus.
I think it'll be the most competitive the top four will have been in most years, like in years I've seen, because I think, like you say, I think Liverpool will be back. I think the back of having Van Dijk back and having a proper centre half, the goals will stop going in and they'll always nick a goal. I think Man U are going to strengthen in the key areas that they're going to. I think the Glazers probably are going to try and make a bit of a statement this summer to say, well, we're on board. Chelsea are thereabouts, one or two players, and then City are saying that they've got a £200 million war chest football.
City are that good. They don't need a striker.
They could do with Haaland though. Haaland would improve City.
If they signed a striker, it would elevate them. But they're going to win the Champions League with fucking De Bruyne centre forward. It's absolutely insane. The way they're coached and drilled, they don't need a centre forward. They're interchangeable.
I think if City get Haaland, there's no point in discussing it and in the title now. But it'll be nice to have an actual title race. For once, it seems like it's been a few years since we've had a title race, and I want four teams in there and changing every week.
I think we were spoiled 2 years ago, weren't we? We City
Liverpool, Man City.
They're both from the last 14 games or something like that. Absolutely.
We won't see that again, I don't think.
90, what was it? 98, 97 points. Unbelievable.
I think it's worth noting as well. I think Mbappe's turned his contract down at PSG as well. And I think he's only got a year left, hasn't he? So that could be another name that comes to the Premier League, because apparently he's like really hotting up on his English. I think Pochettino come out and was like basically saying that he's asked to, I want to start, can you start speaking French so I can keep translating in French to me? And he was like, no, I want to work on my English. So I don't know what that's meant to mean or whatever, but you know, if you could get, I mean, as football fans, you want the best players in the Premier League, didn't you? So if you could get Haaland and Mbappe, it's just, you know, it's just incredible for English football. And you know, as much as it takes our clubs further away from that top four, I don't really care, to be honest. I just want to see
it very far from that top four.
so is mine.
Yeah, I mean the
top four in Premier League One, I think.
The thing that scares me is though, if Barnsley do go up and Haaland's right up at them, that was I can't wait for match of the day on that one.
I mean, usually when clubs like Barnsley come up, I'd be rubbing my hands together, you know, reeling off the usual lines of that's 6 points next season. But tell you what, the way that we've performed against fucking Albion this season and Huddersfield a couple of seasons ago, I won't be banking on anything at the minute.
What's your thoughts for Wolves, Dad? I think you felt like you kind of turned the corner a little bit, but I think
results picked up a little bit. We had a stink in January, February, March. It did pick up a little bit, but the performance levels still weren't there. I mean, you mentioned about Sheffield United coming, having more possession. Fulham away, I mean, we just snatched it at the depth death with Adama, but we should be beating those teams. They're in the bottom three, and they're in the bottom three by some margin as well. Newcastle away, we went life and death in a 1-1. We really
Got hammered by Burnley, didn't you?
You know, West Ham with 3-0 down in half an hour, Burnley 4-0 down. If losing 4-0 at home, I don't care what team you are, even a League Two team shouldn't be losing 4-0 at home to Burnley. And I'm not even joking there. A League Two team shouldn't be losing 4-0.
Sean Dyche nearly cleared his throat for that game, mate.
It's been. I mean, when did Burnley score 4 goals? Do you know what I mean? It's absolutely. They'll be releasing a DVD about that. It's absolutely horrendous.
Conceding 4 to Cardiff.
Well, yeah, I mean, but I think they're moving into next season. Sam, you're optimistic about bouncing back under Big Sam. Bouncing back. Drew, you're optimistic about having a big summer and signing in key areas and kicking on, you know, from a top half finish this season, potentially fighting for Europe. Trig, you couldn't have asked for anything more under Bowyer. Moving into next year again, you know you've got a good core base for squad, and you can kick on next season. I'd tip you for potentially fighting for fringe top 6 position. And I know myself, deep down, with the right recruitment in the summer, we can definitely get back to challenging for a top 7 place again next year. Because I don't think Arsenal are up to much. Tottenham are in a massive transition phase. They can't even attract a big name manager at the moment, Spurs. So it's all open. It's up for grabs.
If we had to put our neck on the line now, what's our prediction for our finishes next season?
So I would have to just say that I don't see us finishing in the bottom half next year if we don't have the same sort of injuries this season. If we have Jimenez coming back and we, you know, we hold on to Neves, I just think that we will.
I need a position. I can't have you sitting on the fence. What are you having?
Go for all our teams as well. Dale, go for all our teams, and we'll go round.
If we sign where I've earmarked, and obviously we retain Neves, Neto ain't going.
Shut up and give us a number.
7th.
Okay, so go through our team. So you've gone Wolves 7th, Villa.
I think Villa will come 8th.
Baggies.
Top 6.
I need a number.
5th.
Blues.
6th.
I'll go Villa 6th. Wolves 10th. Blues, I think you'll be about 8th, and I think Baggies will win it.
Baggies top. Wolves 8th, Villa 9th. Blues 9th or 8th, yeah.
Everyone's optimistic here. I'm going Wolves 15th. Villa 10th.
I'll take that. Top half.
Blues 11th. And Baggies 4th.
And I thought you hated Villa.
It's not.
It's opinions. Everyone's entitled.
I'm neutral here. I think what will happen next season.
I just think that with this season,
I'm just massively confused how anyone can put Wolves above Villa at the minute, just purely because you've got a rebuild. Yeah, but they've got a massive rebuild, Sam. Like the manager could be leaving. Their defense is a mess.
That's good though. That's good if the manager leaves. Like if Raul Jimenez is back, Raul Jimenez is worth about 20, 30.
Yeah, but I think with this season,
what Jimenez comes back. What Jimenez comes back.
That's a fair point. That is a fair point.
If you've had a fractured skull, you are not going to be putting your head in where it hurts, mate. I'll tell you that now. I mean, I had an operation on my back, and it took me about 8 months of playing to kind of psychologically get over my injury. Of thinking I'm going to go into this.
He's been in contact training for around about 7 weeks now, though. So I know it's obviously nowhere near the main thing, but it will help a little bit. I just think that with this season,
I just think that Villa are on the cusp of pushing on, more so than Wolves. I might be being optimistic as a Villa fan, saying that we'll be sick, but I know for a fact that our owners won't accept anything less than 6th, or Smith will have to go. I think they want Europe next year. I think.
What Grealish are we going to get back saying what Jimenez? You know, he's obviously not played for some time. I mean, all right, he's got the summer, but to be honest, I think it's proven that without Grealish, Villa ain't actually that good at all.
Well, I mean, you say that, but you watched us against Everton the weekend, and I think we looked like back to our old self, with probably one of the most entertaining teams in the league again. And I think in patches against Baggies, we looked a little bit better. And then Everton, we played really well. Jack, to be honest, I don't think Jack's injury is one of them that you have to psychologically get over. It's shin splints. A lot of players suffer. Gerrard suffered for most of his career. It's just one of them that you just need to rest. It's not. I don't think it's one of those injuries that is he going to come back the same place. It's not an ACL, is it? It's not a broken leg. It's a shin splint that he's still been doing non-loaded fitness throughout it. So his fitness probably hasn't dropped that much anyway. He's been on the bike since it happened. But I think that. Personally, I think Villa are 3 or 4 players away from pushing on. I think Wolves are probably 5 or 6. Is my opinion. I might be wrong, but I think that's the case.
I just think that our absolute worst has been this season. It's our absolute worst. It couldn't have gone any worse this season, and we're still probably going to come 12th. I think that probably 11, 12 teams in the league would bite your hand off for that. So that probably is a bit of a statement for where we are as a club, really.
I agree.
West Ham, Everton have stunk the league out for years and filtered down to 14th, 15th.
I think
They're having half-decent seasons this season.
Year, they were better. I think Watford and Norwich will be more prepared. I can't really see any of those going down. And what we say, Brentford, Swansea and Bournemouth.
It still takes, the thing is though, mate, it still takes a hell of a lot to come up from the Championship and nail down an 11th or a 12th place finish.
I mean, Watford
it's not happening at all, really.
I just feel like Wolves
rare.
have had the time. I really do.
Yeah.
I think
there's going to be a few teams that will be a lot better next season, but I also think there's going to be a lot of teams that are probably not going to be as good. I think Leeds will push on. I think they've got a real good nucleus. I think I personally don't think their squad's that good. I just think they're just so well drilled and just work so hard that they outwork teams. I think Southampton will be better. They've got to be better. I think Brighton could be on this is their last season. I think they've been riding that. Look, they're doing what Villa did before they went. They just keep surviving every year. I think the talk of Sean Dyche going. I think Burnley could go next year.
Newcastle ain't going to do nothing once they've got him in charge either.
No, and I think it's, to be honest with you, I actually don't think Watford will stay up. I think they'll go.
I think Norwich are bankers to get down. They've got the same squad as they come up. Went that down with a couple of years ago, minus a few players. All right, they might sign a few, but they're not going to spend big money because they never do.
I mean, what was their net spend when they come up, Sam? It was
shocking. They come up just to get the money to go back down. Again, I don't get the point of Norwich going up.
But I think that's why now they've come up, they've absolutely pissed the league. I think now they're more prepared to come up and they can spend more money. I think Norwich have done it really good. I'd rather do that and be more prepared. And then even if they go down next season, they'll probably smash the league in next season. Then you're even more prepared. And I'd rather do that than splash loads of money around.
The only thing I'd say about that is I think that their best player in the first year of the Prem, arguably, this is my opinion, I think was they lost in that the lad that went to Everton. What's his name? Godfrey. Max Aarons is potentially going to go. I don't think he's got long left on his contract. Oliver Skipp's been their best player this season, who's on loan. Whether they re-sign him or not, I don't know. And then it's a case of then do sort of some of the players like Cantwell, who's got like 2 years left in his contract. Does he think if I get a chance, I might go because do I want to keep on being a yo-yo club or should I go and get cemented with more money? I don't know. But it's I mean, apparently there's about 10 clubs who are after Buendia as well, in Villa included. But if they get 35 million, which is a reported figure, then surely they've got to invest that, and hopefully it keeps them up. But
yeah, well, as always, gents, thanks a lot for your time. And to all you watchers or listeners, please like and subscribe and offer your opinions in the comments section below. Thanks a lot.
Cheers.
Cheers.